I loved Troy Otto.
Yeah.
When you got the chance to do it, I really loved the complexity of that character and what it brought to fear. And when I first started watching Curse, I really felt a lot of similarities with the Weeping Monk. Can you tell me about, how you kind of see those two characters in your head, like how you compare them, and what you might have taken from Troy to use for the Weeping Monk?
For sure, there's a few kind of really big, the outsider elements of the character, which I really love. I love playing people who are outsiders or misunderstood, or there's some degree of like an internal life that isn't quite kind of resolved. I think what helps with a character like that is, well, there's something volatile about Troy, like the volatility of his internal life is kind of more in how he kind of interacts. Whereas with the Weeping Monk, I had to kind of take all of that away, because I wanted him to be more emotionally kind of devoid, like entirely take some of the emotion out of him, because that's what made Troy quite fun to play, and also people kind of related to it because there was a charm to him, and there's something kind of interesting about how he was able to relate to people that was just a bit off, whereas I wanted to take all the ability to relate and empathy out of the Weeping Monk,
right? So
that there was, it took a lot longer for you to get to know this person, and by the end his arc is really interesting, but I kind of like that there isn't a play of that, you just keep it a certain, like you kind of keep the audience in the sense of like, I just don't know who this person is, so there are some similarities though between them.
And you mentioned, by the end of the season, there is an arc, and obviously we can't talk about that right now as much as I would love to. But there are, with the show like Curse, because it kind of plays on a legend a lot of people know, there are a lot of things in the latter half that have to be kept secret. There are a lot of things that are going to come to light about all kinds of different stuff. Yeah. What was your method for keeping your secrets through this show? Because I know with a lot of different, comic book adaptations or, book adaptations, it's hard to keep those secrets.
Yeah, I think kind of partly what was kind of quite fun about that, Charlie, is like I had a secret that sometimes I couldn't tell anybody, but that kind of like feeds into a bit of the character, is like this fear that like people are going to find out who he is, so I kind of was living in this life of basically kind of hiding this other person, this other kind of knowledge of this human being, and it kind of feeds into a bit of the story, because if somebody did know who the character was, I get this like, oh, so you're, and I'd be like, shut the fuck up, like you know what I mean? So there was that kind of feeds into a little bit of the kind of the character being insanely kind of control and fearful of that inner life coming out. So it was kind of helpful.
Yeah.